Ahoy! That's a hello you don't hear often. Somebody asked about these cars and about the car breaking damage and whatnot. Getting it in the blender damaged is not too bad. You just gotta fool with the textures a bit. So let's bring in a car that's well, let's see. How about this one? And where's the other car? I think there's another one in the scene somewhere. What's left of it anyway? So anyway, we're going to mess one of them up just a bit. Maybe we'll drop it on the other one. But we just want to dent it a little bit. We don't want to totally destroy it. So we will do this. We will maybe give it some front end damage. Just let it fall on the other car. And then I'll show you the way to get it in the blender. God, I wish they would make that so much easier if they just made them damn arrows longer or got rid of that stupid box. It makes it where you can't grab whatever's behind it, and it's annoying as hell if you got to if you plant things and you got to keep going around something to get to the damn back bracket. They should have just did that shit like Blender, where you can just select an item and say R to rotate, and then you can press, I don't know, maybe X, Y, or Z, so that when it's rotating it only goes on that axis. But no, you got to pick these damn little things, and they suck because they're too small. And hell, most of the time the one that's in the back is the one you need, and you can't get to it. You could if you spend 5 hours trying to get that one pixel. They could make these longer, and that would be all you need to do. I wish I could figure it out, because I damn sure would. I would figure it out, and I would be one happy camper. We didn't quite do what we thought, so we're going to make it fall even farther. Yeah, it's coming down. I see it. Oh, it ain't. Where is it? Oh, where is that? Ground. There we go. All right. Now, wherever it's facing, I will. So we can tell that to export. Now we got to go into UI interface, add app, and add the GLTF 3D exporter, GLTF. You put it wherever. I don't think it exports jbeam, but that'd be cool if it exported the jbeam for the dented parts and stuff. But I don't think that's the case. You will basically, once you get this here, I don't even know what the hell tangent is. I know what normals are. But see, it'll export texture coordinates too. And vertex colors. I'm not sure really what them are used for in a car. I know what they're used for stuff. jbeam, I don't think it does that either. But we'll click it and see. So it's going to go in the vehicle's roamer export. GLTF. takes a little bit of time. Not too long. But if you know it's paused and you didn't pause it, then it's still working. There it went. So now it's officially gone to our folder. We can pull this up in Blender now. So it's you need to probably go into your preferences, go to add-ons, and search for GLTF 2.0. You'll need to put that checkbox in order to import them in, but it's no problem. It's easy to do. Now you can import in your car as a glyph, whatever it's called. There it is. Pack images, merge vertices, use normal date, guess original, bind pose. Blender best for import, export, round trip. I don't know. We'll just import it in. And as it was in the game, it is now completely annihilated. I thought it's pretty cool, actually. Especially if you're into rendering like stuff for movies and animations and stuff. You want a car dented up, well, that's how you do it. I believe if the textures are here, they're not assigned, or if they are, I didn't remember them being assigned, but apparently they are. Now this doesn't completely convert everything because the game uses certain shaders, and this I'm sure uses its own, but if we just pull up one of these, like the car door, and go to the texture and the Romer Skin Sheriff, alright? Now see, this stuff is in here. Roughness, separate. There's nowhere this damn is defined what goes to Blender. What does not go to, what goes to Beam, what does not go to Beam. See, it's got stuff in it, but it came in like that. That's what I'm saying. If you try to send it back out with this stuff, I don't think it's going to do right. Even if you unpack all the items, I don't think it's going to send it back out right. It might, but the normal map, metal roughness, to separate color. They got the blue going to the roughness and the green going to metallic, and then the color going to base color. Now I can just put this to ease, and I'll just real quickly load another Blender and we'll find out. I'll replicate this somewhat and send it with a different item and see if the normals are on there. But I don't think they're going to be. Only that base color map seems to be the only thing Beam understands when you send stuff to it from here. Now, like I said, it may do it vice versa, but I just never had luck with it. Never had any luck. Well, I'm just going to name this something that I know there ain't a texture already named that. Let's see, image. Let's see here. Where? Here we go. We stick this on here. And now we go to the shader and we'll do some more stuff with it. So add a vector normal map, and we will add a normal map that goes to something else. That's what we'll do. How about this one? So color to color, normal to normal. Let me get it closer. So now it's got the normals. Now if I did what they did with the metallic separation deal thing here, it won't copy like that. All right. Metal roughness. I mean, you can call these whatever, but I guess that's a custom one. It's just an image thing is all it is. Texture image. Image texture. They just named it something different. That's all. And we'll stick the same picture in there for that. Why not, right? Alright, so how they got it? They got color to color. The color to separate color. So color to separate color. Green goes to metallic. And blue. No, blue goes to metallic. Green goes to roughness. I ain't quite sure what it's supposed to look like. Anyway, we're going to send it to the game now. And I'll leave it just like this. And I'm telling you, when it gets there, it's only going to have the base color in it. All the other stuff just ignored. All that stuff is only, this is the only thing that you're going to see come over, that base color. Whatever's plugged in that, all the other stuff, you can wish, but it's like they say, you can wish in one hand and want in the other. But what you're going to get is a pile of shit in your hand if you go in expecting it to do all that. So we'll export this to the game and quickly import it in, and if I'm right, I'm not surprised. But if I'm wrong, I'll be damn surprised. Because for 3 years it ain't done it. Why would it do it now? I'm sure they use stuff that's a little different or different techniques. You gotta figure most of us just learn this stuff by what worked for us. We don't know that it's the best way or the easiest way. I would think they probably got more stuff to work with to export and import. I didn't apply all transforms, so I guess. Oh well, I ain't worried about it. It still load. It will still load just fine. I'm sorry, sir, I do not see a normals map in there. Just say, well, it's because you used PBR over there because you know the 1.0 don't have metallic. But you put a metallic, so maybe it's in there. No, it's not in there either, sir. There's no metallic map, there's no normals map, there's nothing plugged into roughness, no, just the color map. So I would hate it for somebody to spend 2 days or so making the... That reminds me, somebody wanted me to see if I could make gold. They said they were making gold and they needed me to see about it. I forget everything, I can't remember it all. But hell, why not we just do it now? If you don't want to watch it, then hasta mañana. If you do, then great. I have somebody to talk to for a minute. Let's see, Blender, I'll use. We're just gonna get rid of that. That's, you know what? Gold, I think as inlaid in blocks and squares. You know, the ones that I always got in the movies, ones that the bank have, the real fancy ones. I'll do something quick with this. Hell, there may even be a gold bar on Sketchfab. Sure, there probably is. This really isn't something that I got like in my mind very clearly. It's just I do this every time. I forget that you're not supposed to do that. You should not ever subdivide a rectangle. It just does not do well. You want it to be all even squares, even though you could remesh it, I guess. It just does better to do that and then stretch it out if you want to make it a rectangle. So that way, if you want to go to Sculptor and you want to make this something like a gold block, you can kind of smooth it here and there, and you got some one of them bevel deals in the middle. But you know, they got all these brushes and Blender kit that do so many different patterns that you could easily just pick one of these and have it assign it to that, like this. So it'll load it into here, and then you basically draw it out where you want it to be. But damn, that looks like shit. That don't look good at all, folks. That's pretty bad, but it could be the subdivisions are not enough. We can try it, see, subdivide them things some more, because those are pretty big squares. So now we'll see it if it does it better. Yeah, it does. So that's what it was. You gotta have a certain amount of subdivisions to look good. Also, you need to shade it smooth for it to look good. Anyway, we'll leave that and we'll put another couple somethings or another on it. A lot of these that are locked, of course, they are for paying people. You can easily upgrade to the premium. You know, they want to show you all these too. It's kind of like at the grocery store. They put all the candy in the checkout. Yeah, you know, people are going to get it. They're going to look at these and say, man, I got to have it. But I just tell it to show me free first. And I'm not tempted. That'd be one more thing to pay for. All these little services, they'll bleed you dry before you know it. Yeah, I know that don't look like gold. It looks like... don't look like gold. Well, there's no shortage of gold textures. I think it looks pretty good. I like that too. It looks like gold. Now, how's it made? It's made with, oh my goodness, that's a lot of stuff. Now, Beam only understood the color map, and there was only 3 other things plugged in. You think it's going to understand all that? Hell no, it ain't going to understand that. What you're going to have to do is bake it. You're going to have to bake it, my friend. I hope you like to bake. So what we'll do is duplicate it. Easiest thing to do, just duplicate it. And since this has got some crazy ass geometry now, I'll just remesh it. Remesh it makes it at the end, but kind of different. Just kind of re-samples the, re-fixes the topography and redoes it, giving it the best shape for the shape that it is. Because when you start stretching things, the damn lines go all over the place, and you get all this weird. Some places are pretty crazy. So when you remesh it, basically redoes it so that the stuff's spread out evenly, and the little topography lines and stuff, it's better. There's different ones. I see that it just redid it already, like that quick. So it went from this higher polygon to this lower polygon. And I didn't even do anything, I just used the regular, but there's smooth, there's sharp, blocks, and voxel. Don't ever use the mouse to drag this up or down, because if you go the wrong way and you go down where it's smaller, if you make these really small, you tell it, nah, I want these to be damn little bitty ones, then it's going to lock up on you, because it's going to try to make some number, so many of them that you can't do it. So just click on it, would be the easiest way to do it. Apply the modifier. In this case, we need to turn on the render engine to cycles, GPU compute. In the bake tab down here, you'll see bake combined. You can bake all these separate and come up with your own little shader based on the glossy, which also can be used as the specular. And the environment has to do with this stuff reflecting on it. Direct and indirect is if you light it, the scene with, say, an HDRI light, and you want to bake those lights into your object. You can do that too. So we need to get rid of this one in here and make a new one for here. Also, we need to go into edit mode with the low poly version and either cut this thing so that it can unwrap, or let it do it for you by doing UV mesh project, smart UV project. Then it'll decide where it wants to cut it, because the idea is you're laying this out flat to know how to map the other thing to, and if you don't do it, it will not bake right. Looking at the UVs, you can see, okay, well, it cut it out pretty sensibly, I guess. Because remesh just made this thing, so it doesn't know what the hell UVs are supposed to. It doesn't know any of that stuff. You got to tell it. Shade smooth, and you see, you got one in front of the other, right? So back over here in the bake tab, you'll open that up. Since we're baking from one to the other, you tell it selected to active. extrusion, always just put 1 ray distance to leave. And we'll do a bake type combine, but let's first put a light, because we're not looking at the rendered version. We're looking at the without the hardware lighting, or the ray trace lighting. So now we'll put a light from a scene in here. Let's see. And once again, tell this to show me the free ones first. It is. Them ain't free though. Now we're not using this to use the background to have it in the scene or nothing. We're just using it to light the item. So the light in the scene lights it depending on where the light's at. See what I mean? And you would be baking that into it if you bake the combined. Some really cool lights in here. You do all different kinds of things. Depending on what it is that you want, you can set this up many different ways. You can just have one asset like a rock, and you can bake it with the light in different places. Like you could have the light go around it like so, and bake different ones with the lights in the different places, and that one object will look like a few objects without it looking like the same object. I don't think many people bake as much as they used to. I think now pretty much games do that stuff almost like real time, or they do it real time. Maybe they didn't used to, but they do now. Cube to cube. If it helps you understand, this is the low poly version. This is the high poly version. And we got to give it a texture, the low poly. So we'll go to shader. We'll pick the low poly one, say new, and then you'll get this, and we'll add a texture image. New. I usually do 4K. I sometimes do 8K. I never do 16K. It takes too long. We don't need an alpha channel, but I'll leave it anyway. And then you got to go back to this again and go find the bake tab. And now the way you got to pick these is kind of, you can't just pick the high one here and the low one here to say that to that. It does something crazy. It doesn't work right for some reason. So what I do is I tell the high one so that it's easy to pick both, as I tell this one to be a bounding box. So now it's easy to grab the box and hold shift and pick the one there. And then you just bake it. Over here is where the preview will come out. God damn it. These things are a pain in the ass to. Never move right. Oh, it's still baking. See, 25%. And, you know, you can. Oh, yeah, well. I told it to do 4,000. I didn't tell it shit. I forgot to change it from the default 4,096 to something like 128. That's what's taking a while. It does help to use your GPU. And hell, we got time. I can show you preferences. Go to system. And in here, by default, it's checked to none, but you pick whichever card that applies to you. I'm not sure why you see the CPU in there in the CUDA thing. I don't think it really does anything in there, but it is a lot faster than the CPU. Problem is with GPU rendering, most of the time, for me anyway, when I render really high res like 8K and stuff, it just does fine with the CPU, but the GPU, it just renders nothing. Like a black box. Yeah, I'll definitely undo that. In fact, I ain't got the patience to wait for this, man. Damn, this is killing me. I got a lot of patience, but not when I have to wait unneedingly. I could have easily have changed that setting. Oh yeah, I went outside and I beat the hell out of a stump. The big stump was a dead tree. I kicked it a few times and broke it into a lot of pieces. I was surprised how easy it broke. But anyway, the reason I did it was I wanted to see about making mesh room scan stuff with this. So I rendered some of them out in the mesh room, and the camera is not great. A lot of pictures are blurry, but I like that stuff. I thought, you know, you could, if you got a good enough scan, you know, you could make that like the surface of something, and you drive on it, and it looked like this alien world. Yeah, see, like that'd be the cliff edge, and you drive on that part. It don't look too bad. It doesn't look as good as this, because I didn't, like I got an old iPhone. It doesn't do really high resolution. If you get too close with it, like that, it'll blur the other stuff with the depth of field, and then that'll be a blurry texture, like that. So yeah, I went through and I did a few of these, and they came out all right, like I said, but I was just really killing time. The power was out, and I had to wait on the damn thing to get turned back on, so I went outside and figured I would do some stuff like that. Look at that pretty bake there, goodness. Them bakes don't get better than that. That's a good one. So we'll connect it to the base, and this is what our base looks like. Now, yes, it's not really ray traced, it's just cooked in there. And if you really want to get an idea of what it'll look like in the game, it's not using the render view. It would be, oh, I'm in the right view. Not the render view, but the unrendered view. It doesn't look great, but you got to think you can do some other stuff in Beam. You can make it metallic in Beam. You can adjust the roughness in Beam so it reflects more. It doesn't reflect like that, but you know, you got options like this. You can also bake the normal mapping. So I'll do that, show you how to do that. And the roughness and the other one, and ambient occlusion. And the diffuse. If you don't want to bake the lighting, the ray trace lighting, you don't have to. You can just simply bake a diffuse and tell it to not use the contributions from direct and indirect lighting, to only bake the color information. That would put you more along the lines of replicating this better, because you're only getting what you basically need and putting it on its own little layer thing, instead of trying to combine all the stuff and bake it at once. It never really works good. Not for me anyway. Alright, let's add another one. Or I could just reuse that one. It doesn't matter. But I do need to save it first if I'm going to keep it. And this will go in another folder. It'll go into a folder that is in a different folder. That's what I'm trying to say. So the game will make the texture. I don't have to manually add it. It just doesn't want to add stuff to existing main.materials. Alright, let's do diffuse without the direct indirect. We got to make sure we reselect stuff because and all that unchecked stuff. Also, when you do bake to this, when you pick the high poly and then you pick the item, make sure you select the thing you're cooking to, baking to. And it's very possible to do it backwards where you take the no texture at all and bake it onto the high poly. Good thing is you didn't actually save it, so you can always just reload high poly texture. So this will be a lot quicker. 128 samples. Well, I would say a lot quicker. It's still taking a while. Now, if you don't want to wait on 4K, bake 1080p. Well, most of you probably have your display at 1080p anyway. Be a waste of time to do higher if you can't show it anyway, so why bother? Here's an interesting thing I wondered, well, kind of curious how it would work out. So say you got a computer and you render a water simulation, and look at that, it's black. Why did it do that? It shouldn't have. This is probably another one of them deals where, I don't know, the damn thing is having an issue. So you know what, that's it, no more 4K. They're all going to be 1080p at this point on. I ain't got time to sit here and keep messing with this. I did get something to eat though. I said I was going to earlier and I finally did. I had some ribs, pork ribs. Yeah. Damn, man. And it didn't bake shit. I don't know. Or fuck it, we're not worrying about it. We'll bake the normals and be done with it. So the normals, you got to do different. You got to, when you make it here, you got to tell it to do linear for the color space when baking normals. There's probably something I'm not thinking. I overlooked something. Or it could just be one of them times it just, I don't know, whatever reason, decided it didn't want to render. So this will be it, by the way. I'm not waiting anymore. I am done waiting. So there's our normal maps. We'll save them and we'll export the image. But there's other ones you can bake. You know, maybe you do want the reflection stuff only in there too. Just do environmental. I'm just not sure how to set that up. It's always something I forget. But I guess that's fine. That's it. That's the reflective map for that. Like what that would reflect if it was there reflecting things. And you can save that. You can use that for part of a layer of a texture so that it adds to the thing somewhat. You got transmission and you got opacity, you got shit. There's a lot of stuff in here you can bake. Ambient occlusion. Now the roughness having problems baking that from one thing to the other, so what I have to do is do it different if I want to bake the roughness map. I have to, instead of baking one to the other, only bake from one to itself with a, you know, an extra little slot here, of course, and you have the stuff plugged in, the normals to the normals, and the color from the color map to the roughness map, and it'll bake the roughness. But for whatever reason, when you pick roughness now and try to bake it the old way, it doesn't work. Ayo, ayo. Alright, so one more. This one will do different. So we will reload the diffuse, well, in this case the combined, and we will also send that to roughness. We'll put the normals in there. Color to color, normal to normal. Now if I get rid of this for a moment, you can see what the normal mapping is doing. Makes that low poly thing look like it's about 10 million polys. Sometimes it works good, sometimes it doesn't. I think it works alright today. It looks pretty good. So roughness. Add a texture. And this one you will take off selected to active. And you will pick only the one that you are baking from to, or you're only doing it. You're not using the other ones, what I'm saying. You're just using this one, so you uncheck the other one. You pick the one that you're baking with at the moment, the low one, and then you select the thing that you want to bake it to. You could overwrite the others. You could just make a new one. And to me, really, the roughness just looks like the color map, just with a grayscale. A lot of times I'm like baking all this stuff. I'll bake one and then I'll convert it to grayscale and make that the roughness, and then I'll invert it and make it like the ambient occlusion, and it's like kind of taking shortcuts. There's our roughness map. Closing all this, done with it. I'll import our, we gotta click on the art folder and tell it to refresh directory since we added something. And go to the gold folder and pull it in the scene. So there's our mesh. Now let's make it look better. So the normals, we'll go to the normals. I didn't bake a glossy, so I'll do what I can here with just what we got to work with, and then we'll switch to PBR. If you're using non-PBR, you want to reflect the world around it, pick like level, but then you got to put the texture in the reflectivity map, which just gives it something to contrast reflection to non-reflection. If you don't, it's just going to make everything reflect 100%. You won't see any other textures. Where the hell did it go? It's right there. For whatever reason, it says I ain't drawing you anything. Yeah, ignore that shit. They had this in here before they added where it can reflect the levels or the more dynamic reflection. They had it where you pick a cube map. It's better performance, but it's not as good looking. And you had these different cube maps you could throw on there. And then they made it where you'd use the level, and it reflects accurately like what's around it. Alright, screw this. Let's go over to the other one. I know it'll look better in there anyway. So the metallic, I don't know, stick one of these in there. Or don't put nothing in there. It's up to you. Normals is in there. The normal detail map, I can just recycle that one. Change the base size to 1 to 1, and wow, that looks like shit. That's some big ass pixels. They didn't look that big in Blender. They look pretty high resolution. God damn it. I don't know why it does this sometimes. It just says, alright man, I'm sick of your ass today. I'm just going to do what the hell I want to do. Take the camera away so you can't go anywhere. That happens quite a bit. No idea why it does. Probably something I'm doing. Well, you can see where it cut the damn seams. It's pretty obvious when you're looking at it. You see it. I know that look. And that's where its seams at. They say to do the seam in a place you don't see it, under the car or whatnot. But we let the UV thing do it. Like, I don't know what else to put, really. It doesn't look that good, actually. Now that I look at it more, it does not. Something's off about it. I don't know what it is. But I'm done for tonight. I could do this better probably, but I'm not doing it. I'm moving on to something else. I got a few things I'm working on. I got the head that explodes, or the body that's going to explode. Oh, the whirlpool thing. You know, I figured out how to get the damn texture to, or figured out how to get it smoother at 4K. Instead of rendering at 30 frames a second on the phone, I tell it 60. Now, for a long time, I didn't think it would render, or it wouldn't transfer 4K 60 to the computer for some reason. It kept giving me an error. And the 30 frames per second, fine, but anyway, where I did render it, not render it, I just took the video. This one I did not do with blue coloring. I like this color, actually. It looks kind of silvery, or, you know. And we just want 1 second of it, so but that is a lot better than, say, the alternative. I don't know where it's at. I don't know where the other one's at. There's a lot more choppy. Alright, y'all have a good night. Have fun. Break the game some. Yeah, this was something else too. I didn't work good. I have to redo this too. It's hard to take the photos when you're also setting up the scene. You know, you can't be in two places at once. I had to flip the bucket over and be down here holding the camera. So I ended up using a lot of tape to hold the damn thing to the railing, and it didn't work good. Look, I'm zoomed in too close. Alright, y'all have a good one. Good night.